Okay, this is lesson 7.5, triangle sum theorem. In any triangle, the angles of a triangle are formed where two sides of a triangle meet. So, where two sides are these things, the outside. Where two sides of a triangle meet, you get an angle. Okay, so then if I have a full triangle, I have three angles. Okay, and they meet, which is also known as a vertex. Vertex, kind of think of it as like the corner or like a point. The angle where they meet is located inside of the triangle. So whenever we're talking about angles, they're always on the inside of the triangle. Okay, so the angle, you see how it's shaded on the inside, that A, that B, that C, they have these bubbles, these markings. Those are what are called angles. And the dots, where I see the letter A, B, and C, those are what are known as a vertex, right? Those are the corners or the sharp points in a triangle. There are three angles in a triangle. When I add those three angles together, they add up to 180 degrees. So when I add up the measure of angle A, the measure of angle B, and the measure of angle C, it's 180 degrees. And that's for any triangle, so all three of those angles will add up to 180. Okay, we're going to apply that to the following 6 examples. So I'm going to look at letter A first. Okay, there are 3 angles in my picture. Okay, the top one is 53 degrees. The bottom left one is 67 degrees. This one in the corner is x degrees. So I know when I add those 3 angles together, remember the angles are the insides, they should equal 180 degrees. Okay, so now I'm solving for x, I'm solving for the missing angle, that angle that I don't have. So I'm going to do 53 plus 67. Those are like terms and I want to combine them. So I get 120. Then I want the x by itself. So in order to do that, the opposite of positive 120 is negative 120. So I'm left with x degrees is equal to, and then 180 minus 120. I get 60. So 60 degrees. Okay, so that 60, if I plug it back in for x, should be the same thing. So the measure of angle B, right, because I want to make sure that I'm consistent and put the correct markings. So that angle, this one in the corner, is 60 degrees. Okay, let's try letter B. I have 2 angles that have some type of numbers or some type of variables next to them. This one is 60 degrees, this one is 30x, and this one is has a box. But yesterday in the previous lesson, we talked about what that box meant. That box means 90 degrees. So I do have 3 angles, and I'm going to solve for x here. So I know that if I put the 60 plus the 90, right, because I'm adding 3 things, plus the 30x, I should get 180 degrees. Okay, let me combine my like terms, the 60 and the 90, right? These are like terms. So 60 plus 90. Okay, I get 150. Plus 30x equals 180. Okay, I want the x by itself. So the opposite of positive 150 is negative 150. I get 30x equals 180 minus 150 is 30. Then the last thing I'm going to do is get the x by itself, so I'm going to divide by 30. Alright, so x equals 1. it wants me to find all of the missing angles. So I know that this angle is 60 and I know this one is 90. What I want to do is I want to plug that x back in and figure out what this angle at the top is, right? Because I'm solving for this angle. So what I can do is I'm going to do 30 times 1, because I got x is 1, and 30 times 1 is 30. So this angle right here is 30 degrees. That's my missing angle. So if you do have to solve for x, just make sure you go back and you plug it in so that you figure out what the angle is. Okay, let's try letter C. So I have two angles, and for letter T, I don't have anything. I don't have an angle. So I could put a placeholder, I could put the measure of angle T, but I'm solving for this angle right here. I don't know what it is here. I'll put like a question mark. I do know that I have 82 plus 27 plus here I have this angle that I'm trying to find. That's the measure of angle T, right? Ultimately, I'm trying to figure out what T is. Plus the measure of angle T equals 180 degrees. Okay, let me combine my like terms. So 82 plus 27 is 109. The opposite of positive 109 is negative 109. So 180 minus 109 is 71. So the measure of angle T is 71 degrees. So if I want, I can add that back into my picture, just like I did for the previous one. So here, this angle is 71 degrees. Okay, so I have it here. I also put it in my picture. I could put it back in my picture for letter A. I realized I didn't do that. So the measure of angle B I said was 60 degrees. So here I can draw a little arrow and put 60 degrees. I have it labeled, but I'm also adding it in my picture. Okay, let me try letter D. So I have three angles, 1, 2, 3. All three have some type of number or variable that I can use to help me solve. So I know that if I add all of the angles together, right, I add all three things together, it equals 180. So I have the 2x plus the 96 plus the x plus 12. The x plus 12 is one thing, so you want to keep it together. Equals 180 degrees. Let's combine our like terms. 2x and x. So 2x plus x, that gives me 3x. And then I also have 96 plus 12. So 96 plus 12. That's 108 degrees. Or 108, I should say. Equals 180. Okay, I want to solve for x. So the opposite of positive 108 is negative 108. 3x equals 180 minus 108, 72. And then I'll divide by 3. So 72 divided by 3, I get 24. So I'll put it over here. X equals 24. So remember, I'm doing all of that work to figure out what x is, because then I have to plug it back in and figure out what the angles are, because there's no letters. You see how there's no corner points? I can't say the measure of angle A or the measure of angle T like I did in the previous one. So we're just going to add them into our picture. The 96 is already there, so that one is good. I'm not plugging anything in. I do have to figure out what this angle is. I have 2 times 24. 2 times 24, that gives me 48 degrees. Okay, and then I need to figure out this angle right here. So that's 24 plus 12, right? 24 plus 12 gives me 36 degrees. So now I have all three angles. I have the top one, which is 96, the bottom one, which is 48, and the other bottom one, which is 36. Remember, they should all add up to 180, so if I wanted to, I could check and see if it works. So 96 plus 48 plus 36 should be 180, and it checks out. Okay, let's look at the ones at the bottom. It says try it, but I'll do them with you just so that we get the extra practice. So I have three angles for two of them. I have numbers for one of them. I have a variable. So I know when I add those three together, it equals 180 degrees. So x plus 80 plus 40 equals 180. These are my like terms. So 80 plus 40 is 120. Minus 120 so I get x is 60. I'll put it over here. Then I'm going to take that 60 and plug it in wherever I see the letter x. The 40 is good. The 80 is good. I'm going to plug it in right here. If I plug in 60 for x, I know that that angle is 60 degrees. Okay, let's try that last one, letter F. Okay, for letter F, you have three angles. So angle 1, 2, 3. You need to add all three together and equal them to 180. Okay, so I have 2x plus 6, right? This is all together. That's one angle. Okay, I have plus x. That's my second angle. Then plus this 2x minus 6 equals 180. Okay, so here, let me go back and show you. So 2x plus 6 is this angle. X is this angle. 2x minus 6 is this angle. So I'm adding all three things together and equaling them to 180. Now I want to combine my like terms. So 2x plus x plus 2x. Okay, that gives me 5x. My other like term is plus 6 and that negative 6. Those cancel each other out, so those are gone. So I'm left with 5x equals 180. I'm going to divide by 5. So 180 divided by 5 is 36. I'm going to take that 36, right, because it represents x. I'm going to plug it back in and figure out what each angle is. So if I plug it in back to the top up here, I know that that's 36 degrees. If I plug it in here at the bottom, I have 2 times 36. Here, let me rewrite this. I have 2 times 36 minus 6. So 2 times 36 minus 6, I get 66. And then I'll do the same thing for the other corner. So for this one, I have 2 times 36 plus 6. I'll put my answer down here. So 78. And don't forget your degrees. That's your units. So you want to make sure that whenever you talk about angles, you mention your degrees. So here I have 36 degrees, 78 degrees, and 66 degrees. If I wanted to, I could double check and make sure that all three of those add up to 180, and they do. So that's also a good way to check at the end, just to make sure if you did it correctly.